What is up, DS3TV? We are back for another video. This one, you guys have been, um, I've seen at least two comments asking about do the Mongol invasion of India. So we're gonna do that, and yeah. So yeah, two Mongol videos are coming out today, which probably does not happen too often. But I mean, I don't think it. I mean, it doesn't happen often because I like to have like a little bit of variety like come out every day, but you guys asked about it a lot, so you guys are going to get it the same day. And yeah. So let's get into it. Excuse me. And play.
After the civil wars of the mid-13th century, the Mongol Empire was split into four independent khanates, with the least known being the Chagatai Khanate. Hemmed in by the Golden Horde, Ilkhanate and Yuan, the only direction the Chagatais could expand, not at the expense of their fellow Mongols, was south, towards the Indian subcontinent, at that time ruled by the Delhi Sultanate. In this video, we will look at the Mongol invasions of India. The Delhi Sultanate arose from the ruins of the Ghurid Empire, which had stretched from Afghanistan to Bengal. Upon the death of Muhammad of Ghor in 1206, his Ghulams broke apart his empire, and the Ghurid Indian territory was consolidated under the long reign of Shams-ud-Din Iltutmish, based in Delhi. Over the next 3 centuries, the Sultanate was ruled by 5 separate Turco-Afghan dynasties, whose foreign policy on their northern borders came to be defined by the Mongol Empire. Relations between the Delhi Sultanate and Mongols began in the 1220s, when Chinggis Khan himself rose to their borders, chasing the Khwarezmian prince Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, son of the late Khwarezm Shah Muhammad II. There is disagreement over why the Great Khan chose to halt at the borders of India, but it seems that Chinggis simply may not have had an interest in expanding into a new, unknown territory while already dealing with Iran, Central Asia and China. Chinggis returned to the east and died while on campaign against the Tanguts in 1227.
Which we kind of knew about from the last video. Well, yeah, the last video that's coming out today, so.
Under the steady hand of Iltutmish, the Delhi Sultanate came to be the most powerful state in northern India. Over the following decades, the Mongol presence on Delhi's borders increased, with raids into the Punjab and Sindh beginning in the late 1230s and 40s. The Delhi Sultans sought to appease the Mongols through diplomacy and gifts. In 1241, a Mongol force under Bahadur Tahir took Lahore, and Multan was captured in 1245. By the 1250s, Punjab was largely under Mongol control. Sultan Mahmud Shah was overshadowed by his vizier and eventual successor, Balban, who changed Delhi policy on the Mongols. Under Balban, the Sultanate became much more aggressive, retaking Multan and Lahore by force. Balban worked to fortify India's mountainous border through building forts garrisoned by Afghans. Further, Balban welcomed Mongol, Persian and Central Asian refugees fleeing the Mongol civil wars in the 1260s, and gave many of them military positions, which provided the Delhi Sultans with knowledge of Mongolian military tactics. Beginning in the 1260s, the source of the Mongol incursions into India changed. With the outbreak of war between the Ilkhanate and Golden Horde, the Ilkhan Hulagu had attacked the Jochid forces who had been a part of his army. Many fled to southern Afghanistan under their general Negadur, becoming a local power the Ilkhan and Chagatai princes sought to control. From then on, the Negaderis undertook nearly annual raids into Punjab. Balban consolidated Delhi's hold on much of northern India, expanded southwards, and gained valuable experience with Mongol tactics, preventing the Sultanate from being overwhelmed. However, in 1285, he received a great shock when his favourite son and heir, the governor of Lahore, Multan and Debilpur, Muhammad Shah, was killed in a vicious Mongol attack on Multan. Balban spent the rest of his life in shock and died in 1287, succeeded by an inept grandson named Kaikubad. To the north, a major shift was happening in the Mongol territory. A grandson of Ogadai Khan, Kaidu, became a major power broker and sworn enemy of Kublai Khan. In 1282, in an effort to stabilize the Khanate and assert his power, Kaidu appointed a descendant of Chagatai, Duwa, as Khan, and together split the rule of Central Asia between them. Duwa and his favorite son Kutlug Khwaja consolidated their power, and in the late 1290s were able to assert control over the fearsome Neguderis, with Kutlug Khwaja taking command of them. In 1290, Kaikubad was murdered and the throne was seized by the founder of the famed Delhi Khalji dynasty, Jalal al-Din Khalji. Around 70 years old when he became Sultan, Jalal al-Din rose through the military, becoming a lead general for Balban and regent for his grandson Kaikubad before seizing power. Militarily he was quite capable, defeating a Mongol army at Bahram in 1292. Jalal al-Din Khalji's reign was notable for his benevolence and generosity, in addition to his military ability, but this kindness made him appear weak to his ambitious nephew Ala al-Din. In 1296, Ala al-Din Khalji killed his uncle and usurped power. Ala al-Din Khalji was cunning and ruthless and had an exceptional military ability. His reign began with a large Neguderi incursion, attacking Multan, Sindh and Lahore. Ala al-Din's commanders, Ulugh Khan and Zafar Khan, were mobilized with a larger army than the Mongols, and at Jaran Manjur defeated them. Ala al-Din Khalji initiated a number of reforms to strengthen his control and prepare against Mongol invasions. His army and officers were paid in cash, and the Sultan had personal control over the army rather than leaving it in the hands of his emirs. Economic reforms were undertaken as well, with high taxes up to 50% of each crop, and efforts were made to prevent hoarding to keep prices low, making it cheaper to feed his men. His position was strengthened by a strong spy network and his loyal eunuch and possible lover Malik Kafur, who secured him from court intrigues. While conflict continued on and off with other Mongol khanates, and Kaidu's energies were focused on harassing Kublai's northern territories, the attention of the Chagatai Mongols turned to India in the closing years of the 13th century. India was famously wealthy and largely untouched by the Mongols, and was the only direction the Chagatai Khanate could expand that would not conflict with other Mongol khanates. While generally the Mongol attacks on India are considered raids intended for plunder, the most serious invasions which threatened the Delhi Sultanate occurred in Duwa's reign. In 1298, another Mongol force was sent into India. Ala al-Din Khalji's army under Ulugh Khan was campaigning in Gujarat when the Mongols attacked. The commander left in Delhi, Zafar Khan, was able to raise a large army and defeat the Mongols, once more driving them back across the border. Zafar Khan became very popular after this victory, which may have given the always suspicious Sultan Ala al-Din concern over his loyalty. In 1299, on the orders of Duwa Khan, his sons Kutlug Khwaja and Temur Buka marched with 50 to 60,000 Neguderi and Chagatai horsemen over the border. The numbers of the Mongols prove that this was an invasion with conquest as its purpose. Sources describe Kutlug Khwaja as bypassing villages to maximize speed, intending to strike directly at the city of Delhi itself while the Sultanate's army was once again in Gujarat. At the river Jumna, Zafar Khan confronted Kutlug but was defeated and forced to retreat to Delhi. News of the defeat of Zafar Khan caused thousands to abandon their homes in fear, and the capital was soon flooded with refugees. Famine, overcrowding and fear now gripped Delhi. All the while, Kutluk Khwaja was closing in. Ala al-Din held a council with his generals in the city, where he was advised to abandon the capital. The Mongols were too numerous, too powerful, and too close for them to stand a chance. Ala al-Din trusted his sword, however, and raised what forces he could. He marched out 15 miles north of Delhi and met Kutluk Khwaja at Kili. Sources describe Ala al-Din as having an army of 300,000 with 2,700 war elephants, but modern historians give a more feasible number at around 70,000 with 700 elephants, still outnumbering the 50 to 60,000 Mongols.
Okay.
Both forces deployed in the standard formation for steppe armies, a center and 2 wings. The Sultan took the Delhi center, while Zafar Khan commanded the right wing and Ulugh Khan the left, with elephants dispersed among the 3 groups. Like the Mongols, the Delhi forces relied on horse archers, light and heavy cavalry, with much of their army experienced in the same style of warfare as the Mongols. Zafar Khan, looking to avenge his defeat on the Jumna, led the first charge, attacking the Mongol left flank, which broke before him. Zafar gave chase to drive them from the field, but as he was led further away from the rest of the army, he soon found that he had fallen for a feigned retreat. Zafar was encircled, the Noyan Tarakai leading the ambush. Zafar realized that he had been left to die. The Sultan made no effort to rescue the clearly doomed force, his mistrust of his subordinates' growing popularity being too great. Abandoned and surrounded, Zafar gave his best until he was captured. Kutluk Khwaja was impressed by Zafar's courage and offered to let him join the Mongols, where surely his bravery would be appreciated, even offering to make him Sultan of Delhi. Zafar Khan was to the end loyal to his Sultan and refused, and Kutluk Khwaja ordered the execution of him and all of his men and elephants.
Oh wow.
With this
I mean, it is a big price to pay, but
it
hey, he
seemed
was
that
loyal to
Kutluk
them.
Khwaja was now poised to defeat Ala al-Din and conquer the Sultanate. At this point, however, the Mongol forces retreated. It seems that at some point over the course of the battle, perhaps in a final struggle during the execution of Zafar Khan's troops, that Kutluk Khwaja was seriously injured. Before he could make it back home, Kutluk died of his injuries. The Mongols had lost their prince and another invasion, with little to show for it. This defeat did not end the Mongol invasions of India though, as Noyan Tarakai attacked in 1303 while Ala ad-Din was returning from campaigning in Chittor, where his forces suffered heavy losses. Isolated and besieged near Delhi, fighting continued for 2 months. The approaching summer heat and stalemate tested Tarakai's patience, and he too retreated, perhaps unaware how close he came to overcoming Ala al-Din. From 1304 until 1308, invasions were annual, but now the aura of Mongol invincibility in India was broken. Mongol armies were defeated in battle, their commanders trampled to death by elephants in Delhi, and pillars were constructed of Mongol skulls outside the city.
What's up, guys? Yeah, the camera had ran out of space, but we're back. It's okay. We're here. So let's get into the video before this camera dies again. We only have like less than 2 minutes left, so.
The question remains, why were the Mongols so ineffective in India? Delhi familiarity with Mongol tactics was a major factor, both from combat experience, similar army models, and the presence of Mongol defectors. India's hot summers were hard on the Mongols and their horses, impacting pasturage and limiting when the Mongols attacked. Finally, Ala al-Din and his generals were skilled commanders and a match for the Mongol captains. After Kaidu's death in 1303, Duwa helped organize a general peace between the Mongol Khanates, even suggesting they put aside their differences and launch a joint attack on India. However, the death of Duwa in 1306 led to conflict within the Chagatai Khanate. In 1328 to 1329, Duwa's son, Tamashirin, undertook the final major Mongol offensive into India, with similar results. Tamashirin was briefly the Chagatai Khan from 1331 to 1334, but his death and the collapse of the Ilkhanate in the following years put Central Asia into chaos, and the ensuing political vacuum provided opportunities for minor warlords and claimants, such as a certain Balas tribesman named Timur. Our series on the Mongol Empire will continue, so make sure you are subscribed to our channel and have pressed the...
Thank you guys for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel. I want to get 1,000 subscribers by by Valentine's Day. And also you can put in the comment section what videos that you want me to watch. Yeah, so let's talk to you guys in the next video. So we found out where Timur comes from too. That's all great and good. Talk to you guys in the next video, and peace.